Clips.
Alrighty, YouTube's another one of Kips Clips. So, for some time I've been trying to get my head round the whole Brian Harvey story. And it's a hard one to get your head round because there's a million and one tangents. There's about 30 to 40 different names getting flung out continuously. It's a clusterfuck to try and get your head round. So what I'm going to do, which is quite funny because I'm the biggest clusterfuck at trying to explain things, and I'm going to try and condense it simply into the best of my understanding of what's going on here and trying to get my head round it. So, I was listening to it and it took to 1 hour and 17 minutes to get away from East 17 disbanding, arguing with the manager at East 17 and all the fallout from that, and then the phone hacking, so on and so forth. Here is my best understanding of it, and I'll put it in simplistic terms. So, Brian Harvey butted heads with the management and members at East 17, as I'd imagine a lot of these boy bands and girl groups and whatnot does. He fell out with the manager, and it looks like him and the manager started gunning for each other. Brian Harvey had wanted nothing to do with the manager, and the manager wanted to ruin Brian Harvey's career. It then looks like the manager, whose name escapes me right now, you can go and listen to his entirety if you want to fill in the blanks. It appears that his manager, how to explain this, was part of the News of the World group. And the manager, it makes sense that people who manage bands have they have PR companies to have public relations for the bands, and it makes sense that these managers will have very close relationships with certain news organisations to get positive publicity for their bands, so on and so forth. It then looks like when Brian Harvey's tried to go his own way, said some bad things to the manager then went to his wee clique in the News of the World. The News of the World is Rupert Murdoch Empire, News Corp, which is very telling for me when you when you fit the new Truther Industrial Complex into this story. This is the link. Rupert Murdoch's fingerprints. Rupert Murdoch is a neocon. All these news organisations push right-wing leaning politics worldwide. I think he's an extreme right, but in his publications, you have to go gently, catchy monkey. You can't just come out and go, hey, I'm a fucking Nazi, bitches. So, it looks like Brian Harvey's old management has went after him, using his connections in the News of the World. This has resulted in Brian Harvey being phone hacked, tapped, semantics, and he's not presented to me any evidence of phone hacking, of phone tapping, only phone hacking. I'm not saying it didn't happen. How the fuck would I know? I'm just looking at what he's shown us, and all I can see is evidence of phone hacking, which would be breaking into people's voicemail messages. It wouldn't surprise me if they were phone tapping as well. It just wouldn't surprise me. In fact, it would surprise me more if they weren't phone tapping as well. It was just one of the tools in the arsenal. So, Brian Harvey's old manager has went after Brian Harvey using the News of the World's phone hacking team, and they wanted to discredit him, stop him making a solo career and stuff because his manager promised him he wouldn't work again. He was trying to carry out his threats. So, long story short, the bullcrap that happened with E17 falling apart made a beef between Brian Harvey and his old manager. His old manager was part of the News Corp crew and used the News Corp crew to go after Brian Harvey. Then, this is the bit, it took an hour and 17 minutes to explain that. I'd done it in 4, fucking doing no too bad. Then, when Brian Harvey is, he's recording, he's recording a lot of information, sucking a lot of information in with this phone hacking stuff. So the News of the World, the News Corp group are after Brian Harvey. They want to destroy him in the eyes of the public. Brian Harvey does a lot of digging and gets a lot of evidence which might fuck up News Corp's defence when it comes to the phone hacking stuff. Then what happens is, somehow, some way, when Brian Harvey's been fighting this, Bill Maloney has befriended Brian Harvey. He's befriended Brian Harvey to the extent where Brian Harvey had meetings with him and his email address. Brian Harvey gets some evidence from a solicitor that he wasn't meant to be privy to. And he sends this out on email, to a mass email to lots of people. One of the people that he writes into this email is Bill Maloney. Now, after he writes Bill Maloney into this email, showing that Brian Harvey has evidence that News Corp didn't want him to have, Bill Maloney then starts to try and get Brian Harvey in on his stings and all the stuff that he's doing. With regards to, I don't know, you can't, again, Bill Maloney's another one, it's very hard to come to a definitive conclusion on, but to me, with the pattern of the whole Truth or Industrial complex, the Truth or Industrial complex in this internet media is nothing more than an extension of the old world media, the old world media structure. The old world, the mainstream media structure understood how powerful the internet would be, and they started propagating their messaging on the internet. What they didn't do was publicise who it was coming from, because it's stronger if it's coming from a man from the street, an independent source. So as soon as Brian Harvey copied Bill Maloney in on an email that the News Corp didn't want Brian Harvey to have, that is when the Truther Industrial Complex started to try and use Brian Harvey, whether to control where he's going or whether to set him up. But I would argue, with the evidence that Brian Harvey's got there, by my own stuff, my own collage of the Truther Industrial Complex and how it works, Vice magazine is a good example. Vice magazine was bought by News Corp and it was meant to be new internet youth media when it was nothing more than Rupert Murdoch rebranding. Tim Poole worked for Vice as well. He's very much part of the Truther Industrial Complex. He promotes Lawrence Sutherland's neo-Nazi agenda, so on and so forth. So Bill Maloney looks like that he was set up as a... And this is my best guess. Bill Maloney looks like he tried to set up Brian Harvey. He started setting up Brian Harvey after Brian Harvey had some dirt on the News of the World. So Brian Harvey having dirt on News Corp, aka the News of the World, there would be a dog in the fight for the News Corp apparatus to discredit him, make him look like a lunatic, bring out all these demons into light, basically, which we all have. So Bill Maloney looks to me to be a member of the Truther Industrial Complex. And a member of the Truther Industrial Complex that, once he found out Brian Harvey had dirt on News Corp, then set about discrediting Brian Harvey, or even to the extent of setting him up. So it looks like Bill Maloney was a failsafe. This white knight there to save us all from the paedophile scum, while all the time, because he would have been the first point of contact for a lot of people who felt they had nowhere to go to. They would have went to Bill Maloney, oh, look at this champion, he's talking about all these. He'd have been there creating a big database, a big intelligence sheet. Bill Maloney was the Facebook of paedophile intelligence gathering. Does that make any sense? So when the Jimmy Savile thing started to unravel, more and more people started coming out the woodwork. Bill Maloney was there to suck them all in and process them and deal with them appropriately. Just like Childline wasn't there to save your children. It was there to make sure that any kids that had information on paedophile rings or any abuse of children that the state or very important people were doing were able to get managed. So it's a first point of contact for victims to manage the victims. That's what Bill Maloney sounds like to me. The fact that he set up Brian Harvey after Brian Harvey disclosed he had information on News Corp, and when you look at News Corp, Rupert Murdoch's right-wing, alt-right politics getting propagated on the alternative media, you can see the exact same messaging coming from the internet as from News Corp. You can also see Bill Maloney, the possibility of Bill Maloney not being a white knight, but actually being a first point of contact for victims to sweep the ones they didn't want to come to light under the carpet. Also to maybe manage people like Brian Harvey and stuff to make them look like lunatics, or to sort of bring their demons out in light, to discredit them in the public, so if they do come out with any information it's less likely to be believed. So that's 11 minutes. Hopefully that makes some sense. So Brian Harvey was fighting with the E17 manager. The E17 manager was part of the News Corp group. The News Corp group got wind of Brian Harvey having evidence on them through Robert Keller's statement, proving there was phone hacking coming from Robert Keller, who was involved in the Millie Dowler hacking. And then, as soon as Bill Maloney comes privy to information that Brian Harvey has information on News Corp, Bill Maloney, by all accounts, Brian Harvey starts to try and set him up, which would, and it's not a giant leap of faith then to see that Bill Maloney was working in the News Corp crew as first point of contact for victims to hush up the ones they didn't want to hush up. Look at, oh man, he's Mosley. Oh no, who was the big PR mogul? He was the biggest PR guy in the world. If you wanted PR, this is the guy you went to, and he recently was credited with pedo Mosley or something. Oh, I can't remember, but he set himself up as that, for the internet. These people set themselves up as white knights to be the first point of contact for victims and people with genuine stories. And the genuine stories and the genuine victims with stuff that they don't want it to come out can then get managed. What that managed is, you make up your own mind. And it looks like Brian Harvey's paranoia saved him. He was recording everything, he was fucking databasing everything. He was snooping about, he was getting stuff that they didn't want him to get, and this is where this has all came from. So, how this fits in with the Truther Industrial Complex, and how Brian Harvey has came to the conclusion that the Truther Industrial Complex isn't what it says it is. Redpillphil, man, this guy gets propagated by rebel media, and now Brian Harvey's there fucking redpillphil. He's black, he can't be racist. But anyway, so, and again, this is crazy. He's fucking, Brian Harvey, to get his message out, is yet again having to fucking converse with a member of the Truther Industrial Complex. But anyway, so that's my best attempt to simplify it and break it down for you. Brian Harvey was butting heads with News Corp. News Corp heard through Bill Maloney that he had dirt on them through the Robert Kellaway witness statements that he had. Then Bill Maloney tried to set him up. Is it a coincidence that Bill Maloney tried to set him up as soon as News Corp found out that he had information on him? Or is it because the Truther Industrial Complex is an extension of News Corp, which is a conservative propaganda political messaging service worldwide? And if you analyse their politics a bit closer, you'll see they're nothing more than right-wing morons that are propagating the project for the new American century. Alright, YouTube, hopefully that made sense to you. Try and persevere with that interview if you can. Get a pen and paper and take notes. it's hard to keep track of because of the amount of people now. It's all fresh. It's not fresh, but it's all ingrained in Brian Harvey's head and whatnot. So when he's explaining it, he's going from one tangent to another, different names, different times, and it's hard to keep track of. Granted, the guy's a musician, not a scholar or whatnot, so it's not a bad reflection on him. It's just trying to get the story down in a more coherent fashion, which I don't believe this interview has done for 1 second. The whole point of this interview was meant to get it done in a nice coherent fashion, and they spent an hour and 17 minutes talking about East 17. No offence, people that are interested in conspiracies and how Brian Harvey's now calling out the Truth Industrial Complex, they don't want to hear about fucking pop bands fucking going, right? But the takeaway message is, Brian Harvey left East 17, Brian Harvey's management team was part of the News Corp crew, the News Corp crew went after Brian Harvey. Whether it's them just telling the truth about who he was, or making shit up, or a combination of both, who really knows? Who cares? For me, it doesn't matter about this whole story. And then Bill Maloney comes in. And then if you think about what Bill Maloney was, he was the white knight of the internet, saving us all from paedophilia. He was the original pedo hunter, wasn't he? Now he's went underground, and now we have all these fucking alt-right paedophile hunters again. Where this is going, I do not know. I just think we're all getting played. Because somebody's out there saying that they're fighting fucking paedophiles, still question their fucking agenda. You know how easy it is to come out with your cape on and go, "Hey, I'm a paedophile hunter!" You know how many people will then just like fucking give you a bye and not question what you're why are you actually doing what you're doing? What's the reason? Is there any point in this? This isn't normal people don't act this way. But again, they hide behind the fucking shield of, I hate pedos, and if you question me or ask any questions about me, you must be a pedo. It's a very simple applied psychology trick, isn't it? Hide behind the white knight. Nobody can question the white knight. They're saving us from paedophiles. And if you ask one solitary question about these groups, these people, these individuals, why they're doing, what effect it's having on the country, what its effect it's having on politics, if you ask those questions, well, obviously you must just be a paedophile. Think of how horrible it is to use paedophilia as your shield to project your agenda you've got in this information war. And the agenda of these people is conservatism, the rebanding of conservatism worldwide, the rebranding of nationalism. And it's clear as day for me. Don't trust anybody in the Truth or Industrial Complex, including Red Pill, Token Black Phil. I mean, whether they're useful idiots or just brainwashed, the best propagandist is somebody who believes in what they're saying. They don't understand that their head's been filled with shite and propaganda for somebody else very convincingly. They've convinced them so much to the extent they're out in the streets going, job's a good une for the person that's propagandised them. Think for yourself, have your own thoughts, come to your own conclusions, really critically think about all sides of these things. Because somebody's up there saying, I'm fighting paedophiles and corruption, don't just blindly accept everything they say. Because you can see somebody believes the things that they're saying, don't automatically believe them. They could have been successfully propagandised by somebody. Alrighty, YouTubes. Thumbs it up, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all the good stuff. Leave all your comments, good, bad, ugly and indifferent. I'll read and respond to as many as I can. There's a Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. If you enjoy and get value from anything I do, consider using them. It's digital busking. Everything's available and accessible free of charge. I hope to do such a good job that people will consider using the Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. Your spare change, not your life savings, obviously, and a mega thanks to everybody that has. Alrighty, YouTube, hopefully that's made things a wee bit clearer for some people, probably just confused more. But anyway, Alrighty, YouTube. Catchies.
Keeps clear.